Rawchaa Qadash, all praise, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahawashi, by Hashem, Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutation unto the hopeful elect. This is the priest Bakwasha. And really, what I want to highlight here in this lesson is the wickedness of Esau, the so-called white man, and how it's directed towards the righteous. And one of those ways in which Esau devises these snares is actually through his laws, his grievous laws. So he'll prescribe the law and make it grievous, and then he'll make it obsessive. And by doing so, he not only brings hail and wears out the saints, as the scriptures say, but he also is persecuting the poor. Those in which, quite frankly, if provided, the ways of righteousness, 2/3 would still rebel. But it's that excessive overbearance in which Esau, the so-called white man, produces that the Lord is going to judge him for. It's often spoken in the book of Obadiah, how he went way too far. Matter of fact, let's just grab that. And because of those things, this is, like I said, just an example of some of the things in which Chris Hedges goes into regarding the prison industrial complex. Let me bring out this quick scripture. This is Obadiah verse 10. It says, "For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever." Now that's talking about Esau, the so-called white man. Okay, for violence against the children of Israel. So that persecution, these grievous laws, slavery, really America in itself is an oppressive state. And really, the globe in itself, as I went into a lesson earlier last week, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So all things are going to be wicked. But what Chris Hedges goes into here real quick, I'm just going to play a little bit about it. But, there's some frank and very truthful words in which he uses. And he's been going against the quote unquote American system for quite some time now. So I thought that these words were definitely powerful, and Lord willing, it adds to the edification of the elect. I'm gonna read that again. Obadiah 1:10. "For thy violence against thy brother Jacob," this is talking about Esau's violence against brother Jacob, 12 tribes, "shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever." So we're going to go into the prison industrial complex and just some of the grievousness in which Esau has prescribed.
The quota system, it's not about crime. If they want federal dollars, which they all want, for quote unquote the war on drugs, then it's about a number game. And that's all they do. It's harassment. And then it's also about, because corporations and the wealthy no longer pay taxes, they've got to fill those holes. You take like St. Louis County. This is where
Ferguson.
In Ferguson, Michael Brown was killed. 30% of the income came from fines, and they just make up fines. My favorite is obstructing pedestrian traffic. This is real. That means standing on a sidewalk, mowing your lawn, not mowing your lawn. I mean, anything. Open containers, loose cigarettes. It's how Eric Garner was choked to death. Although he actually that day wasn't even selling loose cigarettes. So it's social control, because these urban wastelands, that have been decimated with the shipment of manufacturing overseas, which are filled mostly with people of color, have to be controlled. And you do it three ways. You unleash police who are given total impunity, including the ability to use lethal force against unarmed civilians. 1,000 people die a year, almost all of them unarmed. You create a court system that is just a conveyor belt for people into jails and prisons. And then evictions. People forget about evictions. Roughly every 6 months, you lock up the men and you evict the women and children. And so there's constant instability, which makes it impossible to have any cohesion or networking within the community.
So, these are just a handful of things in which Chris is laying out that is that oppressive and, really destructive mentality that Esau pushes to where our people literally are being subjugated to a system which is oppressive and creates them to be more of slaves. And this is wickedness, man, to devise a law that essentially can put a man in servitude for you for the rest of his life, just to where you can have gain. That system structure is what Chris Hedges is against. Not just the prison industrial complex, but America in itself. Okay, he always often mentions how it's unsustainable. But the reason why it's unsustainable, and matter of fact, let's just bring this out real quick too, because it's not in the hands of a righteous ruler. Okay, this is Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And this guy really, although he's a intellectual for Esau, and I think he might even be a Jake, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, the people are mourning. Like, he's complaining against the system, and it's not even affecting him specifically. It's affecting Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That is who this target is. Let's listen to this one more time.
Have to be controlled, and you do it three ways. You unleash police who are allowed, given total with the shipment of manufacturing overseas, which are filled mostly with people of color, have to be controlled, and you do it.
See, he's talking about people of color. Okay, so yeah, he's mourning for the people of color. Most Edomites are not going to mourn for people of color. So, just maybe one indication that he may be an Israelite, or at least just has some, deeper awareness, for, as it says, people of color.
Manufacturing overseas, which are filled mostly with people of color, have to be controlled, and you do it three ways. You unleash police who are allowed, given total impunity, including the ability to use lethal force against unarmed civilians. 1,000 people die a year, almost all of them unarmed. You create a court system that is just a conveyor belt for people into jails and prisons, and then evictions. People forget about evictions. Roughly every 6 months, you lock up the men and you evict the women and children. And so there's constant instability, which makes it impossible to have any cohesion or networking within the community, and that's also by design.
So when I first started to read that quote by August Wilson, when he said the most valuable blacks are those in prison.
See, these are the things that these Edomites are going to be judged for. Okay, let's read this. This is Psalms 73, verse 8. It says, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. Okay, so yeah, I mean, they're speaking here about Esau, the so-called white man's system, okay, and how it's corrupt. It's aimed specifically at people of color, Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, let's bring this out. This is Psalms 62:4. It says, they only consult to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. That's the wicked oppression of Esau, the so-called white man, of them persecuting the poor. Okay, because this whole system is about oppression. That's what they speak loftily. Okay, that is what that is a fulfillment of their desire, is to see Israelites suffer. Okay, that's why most of these prisons are private. Okay, it's not even something that's public, because then the people would actually have a say-so in the regulation of the people, of the prisoners. But because it's private, there's no regulation. Okay, and it's aimed towards Israelites, man. But that's them speaking blessings, with their mouth, outwardly. But it says, but they curse inwardly. That's why they have, it's always referenced with these Edomites, these so-called white people, that they have a forked tongue, because they're telling you one thing, but they're really speaking another language completely. That's what makes them sociopaths. You know, that's why this guy, is pretty much pissed off. You know what I'm saying? Like an Israelite would be. Okay, because when you understand that it's an oppressive system, then it's aimed towards you and your destruction, and really, it's anti-life. You know, but they do this to cast down Yahweh by Shemyahushai's order, okay, of life. All right. Yeah, let's read one more. This is Isaiah 42 and 22. Yeah, let's read this real quick.
Also by design.
So when I first started to read that quote by August Wilson, when he said the most valuable blacks are those in prison.
Okay, this is Isaiah 42 and 22. It says, "But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore." So, yeah, these are just, like I said, some of the systems in which Esau promotes, but it goes to show you how he's promoting these things, and they're being promoted as a way of keeping our people in slavery and for him to benefit on it. That system Esau, the so-called white man, has been duplicating for centuries. How to oppress a man and even his household. Let me bring that out real quick. This is Micah chapter 2 verse I'm going to read verse 2. Yep. It says, "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." This whole system is upside down, and it's to create slaves, and for there to be a master, and for there to be a servant. And that's really a part of this economic heist in which Esau has promoted through the COVID-19. The destruction of the middle class and the reincarnation of slavery. So yeah, I mean, that's the oppression in itself. Let's bring out this word here, oppress. In Micah 2 and 2, the word here is
Ashak.
to press upon, oppress, violate, defraud, do violence, get deceitfully, wrong, extort. So I had said, this is like a economic heist. But all of this, the heist is you. Okay, the heist is your life, the life that Yahawashi has given you. Now, of course, all of this is in accordance with prophecy. I'm just giving you a more layman's perspective of what Esau, the so-called white man's methodology is when he's creating any system. The system is to ensnare and to entrap and to spoil and to make you a slave in your heritage as long as possible. Okay, I'm gonna read that again. This is Micah 2 and 2. They covet fields, okay, and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. And that's exactly what we're going into now.
I thought he was going to be referring to the fact that, in inner cities, black people are of no use to the corporation. Poor people.
Yeah.
But they are used to them if they're in prison. How so, Jimmy? Well, first, they're slave labor. You can pay them 20 cents an hour to go do work. And also, the government will pay the corporation $40,000 to $70,000 here in California, $70 grand a year to lock them up. So they now become valuable to the corporation, to the point where when a judge in California ordered Kamala Harris's office to release prisoners because of overcrowding, they argued in court that they couldn't do it because it would upset the prison labor system.
You see that? It's an economic development of debt. When you read in Habakkuk, the second chapter, real quick, let's grab this. When you read in Habakkuk, the second chapter, it says, I'm just going to read verse 6. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long into him that ladeth himself with thick clay? And when you go into that thick clay, that's going into a debt-based system, okay? And the word there is a batyat, okay? It says a weight of pledges, heavy debts. So when you create a debt, you also create a slave, because now the servant is borrower to the lender. Okay. So you're always a slave. You stay in a perpetual state of being a slave, and that's what the bank system, the prison industrial complex, your jobs, really, like I said, everything that Esau has devised, it is based upon debt. Once the credit system, okay, a debt-based system, okay, and that's what is creating more slaves and less people that are able to live their life. So you trade your life for $1. That is what they've they've destroyed the dollar. And that's what makes it extortion, that's what makes it corruption. Okay, that's what makes it worthy of being judged excessively by Yahawashi.
So, what do you say? I mean, the way that we've turned poor people into commodities, it's like it's a new slavery, right?
Well, it is a new slavery. That's exactly right. And prisons are plantations. That's what they are. And in prisons in the South, Alabama, other places, they don't even pay. You don't even get. My students get 22 cents an hour, $28 a month for a 40-hour week. And you have about roughly 1 million people within our prison system working for-profit corporations, McDonald's, uniforms, stuff like this. And you have prisons, California is notorious for this, going to corporations saying, look, you don't need to abuse sweatshop workers in Bangladesh. We have plenty of sweatshop workers right here behind bars. And they can't strike, they can't organize. You don't have to pay any benefits. You don't have to pay them if they're sick. And if
you hear this? Are you brothers hearing this, man? See, because Esau knows how to maneuver around all of these wicked laws in which he's created, but he's doing that because he ultimately wants to destroy our people. That's what the prison industrial complex was set up for, just like all the rest of his departments and faculties throughout the quote-unquote United States.
They're a problem, we'll put them in solitary confinement. And so, yeah, it is. I mean, for me, prison is a window into the perfect world of the corporate state and what they want to do to the rest of us. And Dostoevsky actually wrote about that. He said, if you want to understand.
And now this is actually pretty interesting, because what he's now doing is making a corollary between what's been done to Israelites to now him understanding that it's now going to migrate and will absorb the common people. See, it was okay initially, and people might have discussed it as if it was something bad when it was just Israelites being oppressed. But now the people are about to be in that same oppressive state and will be slaves to the system, based upon, like I said, this guy's perspective. But of course we understand that Yahawashi, the prophecy is going to destroy this place, and that Lord willing we will be delivered. Okay, but I just wanted to give that quick perspective.
Stand a country, go to their prison. I think it was Dostoevsky or Tolstoy, I can't remember. And that's right. And you've got to look at how they treat people who are powerless to know how they want to treat you.
So now it's coming back to bite Esau. And I'm just using him as a reference, but he's talking about the common, everyday Joe Six-Pack now being affected. Okay? Not just Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans.
So I suppose if there's any, dark humor to this, it's, because we've turned our backs on these people and ignored them and busied ourselves with kind of boutique activism while people of color.
Wow. Boutique activism. Something that you can feel safe about, you can speak out about, but you really don't necessarily have, any desire, for change. Maybe a month or two ago, I went into the Moynihan report, and that's really what a lot of these Edomites will do. They'll go out in front of the public arena and they'll speak against racism, and they'll write books, and but they're for profit as well. Matter of fact, let me see here. This is Sirach chapter 13 verse 4. It says, "If thou be for his profit, he will use thee, but if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee." So that's Esau's methodology. That's his mentality. That's what his approach is, especially towards Israelites. That's why we're often referred, by them as goyim, or cattle. That's the reason why he doesn't view you as a quote unquote human. He views you as less than a man, a beast. So he treats you that way. Even though, he'll be on the subway with you, or, you guys might be in the same, restaurant or whatever. No. Mm-mm. Every thought that he has is to destroy you. It says, "If thou be for his profit," slavery, "he will use thee," slavery, okay, oppression, okay, persecution, okay, desolation, spoil. "But if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee. If thou have anything, he will live with thee. Yea, he will make thee bear and will not be sorry for it." So, yeah, these are the things in which Esau has devised, but now they're coming back to bite him in the ass, to show that his boutique activism, was really him ensnaring himself, going back to, the reference I had made a couple weeks back about the movie Bird Box. These Edomites don't want to see the truth, okay? And nor do they want to accept the fact that, as he had said, that they turned their backs on us, which the scriptures talk about as well in the book of Obadiah, okay? So, yeah, it says shame is going to cover them, and that's exactly what's happening. But after shame, there will be judgment.
And what they want to do to the rest of us. Dostoevsky actually wrote about that. He said, if you want to understand a country, go to their prisons. I think it was Dostoevsky or Tolstoy, I can't remember. And that's right. And you've got to look at how they treat people who are powerless to know how they want to treat you. So I suppose if there's any, dark humor to this, it's, because we've turned our backs on these people and ignored them and busied ourselves with kind of boutique activism while people of color were being crucified across this country. They started with them, but they're not done with them. They're coming for us now. And given what's happening because of the coronavirus and the economic meltdown, is coming a lot sooner than you think.
So, yeah, hey, Lord willing, this was edifying for the elect. But, yeah, man, hey, just in that quick little segment that goes to show you, these insiders are aware and have been aware, for the longest. But yeah, they, it's like we're at that point of where at any given time, between here and deliverance, be on alert, be alarmed, be warned, be aware, be circumspect, because that roaring lion is out there, man. You know what I mean? And we're already protected through the spirit of Yahawashi. But yeah, these other heathen nations, man, or whoever this guy is, Chris Hedges, I don't know if he's a Jake or not, but yeah, they're on alert too, So at any given time, this thing can pop off. So, what I'm saying? You brothers stay encouraged, trust in Yahawashi. Always have faith that the Lord will deliver. Use the names of Yahawashi more often, just because that is the measure in which the Lord has given us. Those names are protection, and the righteous run into it. So with that, I'm going to say shalom.